Welcome back, everybody. Joe Everest, the fence expert, and I'm glad to see you guys. It's been a few weeks since we've had one of these live Q&A sessions. Unfortunately, today's is going to be pretty brief, pretty abbreviated. So shortly before the countdown started, my wife let me know that her car won't start. So the dealership is on their way over, but I figured it'd be good to go over for some moral support and try to wrangle the kids. It's a lot like herding cats. But I want to say hi to you guys. There's a few questions up here right now. Go ahead and answer them, and then we'll probably get out of here. It's going to be, like I said, super brief. They're supposed to be there in about half an hour. So let's go through and say hi to everybody. Actually, we got a question right off the bat. Robert put his question here quite a while ago. Been waiting patiently for it. So, Robert, here it is. How long should you wait before staining a new fence with solid white oil stain cedar fence? So, solid white oil. So that's not really a not super familiar with that. Typically, you have in oil stains, you'd have, well, I guess it could be a paint. I was going to say semi-transparent, semi-solids. Solid oils, I'm not super familiar with. The answer on staining: how long do you wait before staining a fence? I saw this question come up earlier, and I wrote it up on the board that we should just do a video on it. When can I stain my fence? Right. So the technical answer, the correct answer, is at any point when that fence is 13% moisture content or below. So, how long should you wait is really up to the product. So it used to be, before moisture meters were just like readily available and everyone could get their hands on them. People would say, well, you have to wait 6 months or you have to wait a year. Typically because they knew that 6 months to a year, the moisture content would have to be below 13%. Of course, I'm sure that probably depends on the weather, the weather right around that 6 month or year mark. But I would say pick up a moisture meter. They're on Amazon. Simply type in wood moisture meter. I think they're like $30. And just start testing the wood, right? So you said it's a cedar fence. We actually pre-stain cedar fences. So we'll put the material in our shop, in our stain shop, make sure it's really good and dry, test a few of the boards, and they're usually ready to go as they come off the truck. Maybe if it rained during transit, we might have to wait several days for them to dry out. But since it's a cedar fence, I'd say it's really probably ready to go at any point. Pick up a moisture meter, about $30 on Amazon. There's 2 or 3 options, so pick the one that seems best for you. So as far as time limit, there's really not a time limit. It's more of a moisture content concern. Cannon Johnson, happy birthday, buddy. Everybody wish Cannon a happy birthday. He turns, I think he turns 21 today, 22 or something like that. Maybe a few more, but we'll always say it's 21 or 22. Happy birthday, Cannon. I appreciate you tuning in on your birthday. You got other stuff you could be doing, and I appreciate that. Project Metal Music, hello to you too. Old Man Gaming, I love that name. Hey, recent show fan, keep up the cool and interesting videos. What's a good height for security with a fence that is at the same time not too tall as to be an eyesore? Thanks and take care. Here's the thing about fences. So as we're learning with the border fence, you can make it as tall as you want, and there's still going to be people that get in, over, around it, that sort of thing. Here, and it's probably varies by region too. So here in the Midwest of the United States, 6 foot with 3 strands of barbed wire, so 7 foot total, is pretty typical for a security fence. What we see is they don't typically go over it at that point; they just cut through it. So I tell you what, we actually have an ornamental steel fence here behind that's 7 foot, 6 foot with a 1 foot arch over, and they just cut right through it. They just take a grinder, I guess, overnight and cut through it. So height isn't so much an issue, but 6 foot seems to be a good standard size for a commercial property. Residential property, well, on a wood fence, 6 foot looks fine, right? 6 foot, smooth side out. That way you don't give them a ladder over for wood. But for commercial, 6 foot chain link, 3 strands of barbed wire is pretty typical. Adam Sims, welcome, Adam. So Adam is in the running. So we just had a training event last week in Virginia, and Adam was part of the group that submitted their who, what, when, where, why videos. Actually, I tell you what, Cannon, that sounds a little bit familiar to you, I'm sure, because Cannon was our winner from the Nashville event. So anyway, Adam is in the running. We have to get the speakers together, and I'll discuss and vote and figure out. We're actually picking 2 winners this time. So I'm sponsoring one of the winners, and my salesman is sponsoring the other winner. So we got to get together and all view the videos. We've been watching them, but I'd like to go back and rewatch them all and try to figure out. The tough part is there's like 3 or 4 people that made it all the way through. So now we got to find 2 out of 3 or 4. But Adam, welcome. Alejandro Cabrera Jr. I hope I didn't just completely butcher that. I probably did, and I'm sorry. What's the best wood to use to build a horizontal fence? I live in San Diego, California. The best in your market is probably going to be redwood. Out there on the West Coast, there's quite a bit of fence builders using redwood, and that stuff is beautiful. Here in the Midwest, we've got treated pine and cedar. Of those 2 choices, cedar would be the choice. It's the higher quality product. Longer lasting, but since you're in San Diego, I'd check out redwood. There's a few main fence wholesalers that wholesale redwood, and there's of course retailers, I'm sure, throughout the state in the San Diego area that sell redwood as well. Nottingham, England. Well, I appreciate that for sure. You guys are 6 hours ahead. It's getting into your afternoon here, and I appreciate you tuning in. Hope your Saturday's going well. Stain and seal experts. Hello. We love these guys a lot. They actually, if you look up in the corner right there, Stain and Seal Expert sponsors our live Q&A every Saturday. Huge thanks to Caleb Ashley and the whole team over there. I like their products. I've been using their products since well before they were a sponsor. And actually, that's the reason they became a sponsor. They were our first sponsor because I reached out and I said, hey, guys, I like your product. I want more people to learn about your product because I know they will like the product a lot as well. Let's team up on something. So Caleb and I kind of put this sponsorship together. And anyway, welcome. What's your opinion on metal fence post with post anchors instead of digging holes with concrete for 8-foot privacy fence? So, okay, 8-foot privacy fence, you're going to have, depending on where it is, I suppose, but at least here in the Midwest, it would have quite a bit of wind load. I would be pretty nervous. I haven't seen a lot of technical data with those post anchors, either the screw in or drive in post anchors, in regards to specifically how much wind load they're capable of handling, but really just how sturdy and stable they are. I've seen product demonstration videos that make it look like a pretty good solution, but typically those are on 4-foot or 6-foot tall privacy fences. So 8-foot privacy fence, if it's in my yard, I would set to concrete just because I know that product, I know the process, and I know that it can hold up to high winds when they show up. Project Metal, I'm from Sunderland, UK. Hello, UK. Hello, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. What do I need to do to remove existing bare waterproof stain and seal? You got to strip it off. My understanding, I haven't dealt with bare, the waterproofing. I would say you strip it off and start new. Anytime there's a question, can it work or should it work or what should I do? Stripping is kind of where we go to, just because we know it removes it and it has a nice base. It gets the wood back to natural to accept the oil-based stain. We prefer Stain and Seal Experts, but whichever oil-based stain you would prefer. Adam goes on to say, have a customer with black painted fence. He has a new section just added to it. Will the black stain match, or do I need to paint the new fence in what paint? Yeah, so the best choice there, Adam, is going to be probably see if they have a portion of a can of that old paint that they had used, and then go back with that, just because that's going to be the closest match to what's there. Now, the discussion to have too is that black fades. It's going to fade. Now, whether it fades a little or a lot probably depends on the brand, right? But it's going to be faded. So even if you use the exact same brand, if you use that can, if they had part of a can and you had it shaken up and you went and applied it, it's probably still going to look different, right? So it's new versus old. Start with that conversation. See if they have a can that then you can take to your local store, depending on if it's whatever brand it is, and see if you can use some more of that. That's where I would start. You would think black is black, right? But no, not so much. See if they've got a partial can that you can duplicate. Sarah says we should at least get a participation prize. Hey, we're going to figure something out, okay? Because here's the thing. I agree. So Sarah was also Sarah and Aaron We're also in our Who, What, When, Where, Why challenge from Virginia. I tell you what, you saw a lot of people get out of their comfort zones, get in front of live video, which I know is scary to begin with. So we're gonna figure out something, some sort of reward for getting uncomfortable, getting in front of the camera. I think I talked to a few guys that had been doing this from the Nashville that kept up with it. From Nashville, they kept up with it. They've seen some pretty significant difference in their business as far as making the phone ring and business coming in through the Facebook page. So I know you'll see some nice positive impacts from that, but we'll also figure out like a participation type thing. What is up? Walt Dennis is in the house. Welcome, sir. Welcome. We're glad to have you. This must be Aaron because it wasn't Sarah. What is up, Joe? Just checking in to say hey before interviews this afternoon. Best of luck on those interviews. We're currently holding interviews, and it is shocking to me how many people will schedule an interview and just simply not show up. No call, no email, nothing. I think, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had 10 scheduled. We had 2 show up. 2 out of 10, not the best. And the 2 that showed up weren't a good fit for the team. Stainman is in the house. You're kidding me. Greetings from Texas. We got Walt Dennis and Stainman here in the house. Kenny Dugan, what is up, everybody? Roger, hello. You made it. Hello to you, good sir. Outside of the guys at Map, y'all are second. Well, all right. I'll let you guys discuss that. Good point in the black. Yeah, so we've learned this on black coated chain link when we're dealing with the black vinyl coated chain link product. Black is not black. Black is black, but not all blacks are the same black. So we've had it before where the wire didn't match the top rail, didn't match the fittings. They're all a shade off. And I don't know how that happens, but it does. Green is worse than black. Green vinyl coated, you might as well forget about it. There is no matching any one of those, whether, like I said, the wire to the rail to the post, the tension bands, usually the rail and the post match, but they don't match the wire or the fittings, and it is madness. Now, if you step back 5 feet, it all blends in and it looks fine. The customers really usually don't have anything to say about it, but you see it, right? If you build this thing, you see it. Chattahoochee says, if a company is looking to get into PreStanding as a primary division of their business, what advice would you give to make that transition? Oh man, excuse me. Yeah, so Aaron and I have been kind of talking about dip tanks and that sort of thing. And Aaron, I actually still owe you a video of the dip tank. So depending on how long it takes for me to get meet with the dealership, get my wife's car running, I'll probably swing back by here and get you a video of that. But we've been talking about stain tanks, what an ideal stain tank looks like. Actually, so Caleb Roth with Stain and Steel Experts is putting together a stain tank and kind of a repeatable sort of thing that he'll bring to the market here in just a little bit. But anyway, we've been talking about stain tanks. I prefer dipping. I know that there's other methods out there. Stain Track is one of them. I use Stain Track for quite a long time. The problem is the Stain Steel Expert stain is just thicker. It has more pigment. The oil's a little bit thicker, right? It has a different viscosity than you would see in some of the other oil or water-based stains out there. The Stain Track just had problems handling that thick of liquid. It's a great system. I don't want anyone to think any different of it. We used it for several years, but we've gone to dipping just because it's a more thorough pre-stain. So let's see. So what advice would you give dip versus using like what would you even call that? Just a more of an automated solution, right? So dipping takes longer. Stain Track is absolutely faster. But depending on what stain you're using, if you're using a thicker stain, I would absolutely dip. And then, Aaron, we had talked about pre-staining dip tanks where the dry rack sits right above the dip tank so that everything that drips off of those boards, you get to reclaim. It's a lot nicer of a situation. Also, if possible, keep that indoors because if it's indoors and you've got a heater in that room, you can pre-stain throughout the year. You can also keep all your wood nice and dry so that when you're ready to pre-stain, you don't have to wait to dry out wood, so it would be less than the 13%. So indoors, heated, dip, and a dip tank would be my advice. Is that a wood wall behind your stain and seals rewood? Yeah. So that is the stain and seal rewood product. So Caleb was nice enough to send some down when we were doing the studio. It is a really nice product. It looks kind of dark in the video, so we'll have to figure that part of it out. But it's a really nice video. I think I did. I think there might be a video on the channel of when we did the rewood product. I'll have to go see. I know we recorded it. I don't know if we put it out or not. I know, Aaron. I know. I've owed it to you for several days, and that's my fault. Yesterday was Final Friday, which on Final Friday, what we do is basically there's no production scheduled for the day. So all of our team members are here at the office. The morning is spent. What did we do yesterday? Just basically building projects, cleanup projects, because there's a lot of building here to try to keep clean. And then I spent the morning grilling. So we grilled up some tri-tips, had a great lunch, had about an hour meeting talking about we recap residential and commercial retail fabrication, what happened this last month, what are we looking forward to next month, areas of improvement, that sort of thing. And then it was insurance sign up afternoon. So we got everybody signed up on disability insurance, that sort of thing. We offer, what do they call that? They call it, I don't know. It's like alternative insurance. So it's like disability insurance. It's also accidental death, that sort of thing. Yesterday was kind of a packed day, but I do know that I owe you the video, and I know you've been waiting for it. You mentioned black on chain link. There's a galvanized wire with it. How would you keep the paint stain from making the wire look bad? A pre-treatment of some kind? Yeah, so, well, depending on the product, right? So if it's an oil-based product, you could spray that chain link down with some soapy water, Dawn and water. That way the oil the Dawn, the soap in it will actually make it stickier so that the water doesn't simply run off the chain link. And then after you're done, you can rinse it down, probably wipe it down if you see some spots on it. Typically what I would do if it's an oil base, or you can always tarp it, right? You can always tarp it, mask it, that sort of thing. Just as 100% option, but I would probably spray it down with some soapy water, some Dawn water, and call it good. Rinse it off once you're done. All right, guys. So I'm through the questions right now. I really do need to go. This is usually quite a bit longer. I usually go from 10 to 12:30 Central. But right before we started, my wife called me to let me know that the car wouldn't start. So we called the dealership. They're sending somebody out, but I'd like to meet with them so that my wife doesn't have to. And they're supposed to be there here in about 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm going to sign off fairly early, and I apologize for that, but sometimes life happens. And family first. That's how we run our business, and that's how I'm going to run this channel. So if you guys have questions, continue to drop them in the comments below. I see those comments in the YouTube Creator app, so I'll continue to answer them throughout the day. So even though if we can't answer them live together, I can at least get you some sort of answer on them. Guys, for now, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, and I'm reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll see you guys next week. Next week, we have the entire panel of the training event in Virginia. We're going to do a event wrap-up, and I think we're probably going to have a big announcement. Anyways, guys, we'll see you guys next week. I look forward to it. Like I said, if you guys have questions, comments, drop them in the comments below, and I'll be watching those through the afternoon. We'll see you guys later.